Who fucking found that out?
I found it at like 3 a.m. on YouTube.
You're poor
and it was
cat.
like, yeah. Oh no, I didn't do it to them. I wouldn't like.
I
Then
was just
she'd
about to
hate me.
ask, how many cats do you have?
Yeah. No, it was on YouTube and I was just watching for like 10 minutes. I was trying to wake my missus up. I'm like, look at this guy's putting tape on his cat. Like, it was the weirdest video. But she was like, what are you talking about? I showed her and then they're walking sideways and shit. She's like, that's funny, but we can't do that to Pop.
Because you can do it like...
It's funny, but it's kind of not right at the same time.
No,
I think you can do it on their head, on the top of their head, and they're like...
Yeah.
They're trying to find it and get away from it.
But
yeah. But the T-tail's kind of like less harmful.
If you put a coat hanger on you...
I haven't tried. You just fall over.
Ben just
you just walk sideways.
Yeah.
Is there anything with swearing and stuff in here?
Oh, no.
Mate.
No.
Yeah, no.
We had Chero on. That should answer the question.
I try not to, but sometimes I slip out.
If you want to go nuts, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fucking
You get 3 C-bombs an episode. Never cut you off.
Yeah.
Nah, it's over. He's out. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Security or something.
Yeah. Nah, not for you, mate. Just kindly ask you to leave.
Yeah.
And if you want to stay on,
if you don't, stay. We'll just go.
Yeah. Well, what's up, guys? Welcome to my new podcast studio.
Just got my mic fixed.
Yeah, we're all sorted. Yeah. No more 400 hours of post-production.
Oh, so yeah, because it's all one static angle because it's recorded online, which I'm using remotely FM.
So we've just both done episodes on that with someone, and it shot itself both times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How is maybe it? I use Riverside FM. I use one of them.
Yeah, Riverside is the one we used.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So very temperamental.
I use one because I haven't had any issues. So maybe it is remotely.
Maybe it's just us.
Because it comes out really good, but because it's static angles, the reason the editing takes so long is I'm like, I can hear you breathing now. No, it's all good. Like I've got to, when they're saying something interesting, I make them go full screen and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there watching the whole thing and trying to edit it at the same. That's why it takes so long.
Yeah.
And because the audio editing's so quick.
Making it interactive, I guess.
Yeah, otherwise it's just two heads talking. And I mean,
that's what we used to do on Zoom.
I got ADHD. I'm not going to watch 2 minutes of that.
Yeah.
You know, and like if it's not jumping out at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's why your guys are really good though with the cuts and you see the people's face.
Yeah. That's all Tam.
Yep.
Has nothing to do with us. We're just like
doing well.
Tam, make it do things so people keep watching. And it works, apparently.
You can do that whole, pull that shit up, Jamie. Like, pull that shit up, Tam.
We haven't done that yet, have we?
No, we were supposed to get a screen here.
We did think about getting a TV.
Yeah, we're supposed to get a screen so we can search stuff.
I like it.
Yeah.
And look things up.
Yeah.
Do
but we were,
physiques.
Yeah, we weren't super confident of where the studs were to mount a TV. And then if we were to put a thing here, it would look shit.
It's cramped.
So it was,
We might get there eventually.
We'll see. When we have the actual studio.
Yeah.
Not a secret room in a house somewhere.
I like it though. But I was unsure. I was like, am I in the right place? He said studio.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might be in the garage or in the house.
Yeah.
That's why I messaged first though, instead of knocking. I didn't want to like scare someone.
Is this the wrong house?
What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, bro.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming.
Man.
Good to be here.
Short notice last week. It's good to just drop in.
Yeah, isn't it wild? I don't bail and stuff anymore. I actually follow through. And I always used to be late everywhere. And I try not to be now.
That's good. That's good. So we haven't caught up for like a couple of years, hey?
Yeah, no.
It's like it's like that weird, awkward thing that happened during COVID. It was like we're allowed out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we went back away.
Yeah.
That would have been the last time I saw you.
Yeah, so over a year ago, or about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before that, I mean, you were helping a lot with my training and like in wraps and stuff and giving me mobility stuff I wouldn't do. But, I could see it to help. I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
I see how this benefits me, but I will do zero of it.
I'm like, I really appreciate it. And it feels good when I do it.
Ben, I'm really struggling with this. Did you do your warm-up? Nah. Try your warm-up. Let me know how it feels. Bro, that feels really good. Yeah, do your warm-up.
Will's got me doing stuff now. And I've had shoulder pain for maybe a year and a half, 2 years when I'm benching. And it never really goes away. And sometimes it's really bad. And it was getting worse and I was benching lopsided. And I unracked, I was doing 200 for reps and I unracked it and I just felt this sharp pain in my tricep and it got all inflamed. So it would have been like something minor, but I still did the set, right? Because I freaked out. I was like, oh, that hurts. Like, just, what do you do? I'm like trying to get away from the pain and I just started. The dumbest, because it happened on the unrack. And then I very rarely send Will lifting videos. and I uploaded it. I'm like, dude, I need to fix this. Like my upper body mobility is so bad, and it's just gotten worse. And I've complained about it for years and haven't done anything about it. It's just gotten worse because I've gotten bigger and stronger. Yeah. And lo and behold, he gave me some breathing drills and a couple of warm-up drills, and I don't have any pain anymore after like 2 days. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. And then I bet after a week, when it hasn't hurt for a week, you'll just stop doing them.
No, I've stuck with them.
Yeah.
I've stuck with them. It's been like 2 weeks now. I'm a new man.
Look out. Yeah, that's my thing. It's like, get out of pain, stop doing the thing that was preventing the pain, and then all of a sudden, I'm back in pain again.
Because back in the day, that's what I used to do. But if I just ignored the pain for long enough, it'd go away. So I had that hip. I'm 29 now. I'm almost 30. I'm 30 next year, right?
Mate, yeah, it's all downhill.
It's all downhill, bro.
Enjoy the next 12 months.
Yeah. So well, there was that ages I was squatting, and I'd be squatting. I'd do like 380, 400. My hip would be in agony, and like I couldn't walk upstairs. And I was like, nah, it's just gonna go away. It's just gonna go away. And after about a month, 6 weeks, it went away. And Tyler was just like, this is the issue, though. He's like, you always get away with this shit. Like, you need to actually have something that's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want you to get injured, but I want there to be a warning. And I had it recently, so it's all right. Like, I
just want a close call.
Yeah, I smartened up. I needed it, right? Which is stupid to say.
Yeah. Wild. So what else is going on in life? Still got the gym?
Yeah, Apex is going well. Obviously, it was pretty rough there, but we're very lucky. All the members support us through. You supported us a lot. Like, everyone kind of got around us. And then after COVID and that, we've bounced back really well. All-time high with members and stuff. And
awesome.
We have a bunch of new dumbbells up to 70 kilos coming.
Awesome.
And we're decking out with all new equipment, a bunch of new equipment this year.
Wish I was still strong and could go use them.
That's everyone's like, 70, who's going to use that? I'm like, they're for me.
Yeah.
They are for me and maybe Tyler one day.
Yeah.
But no, it's going well. We're setting up with more equipment this year, getting like custom equipment in and stuff. So
awesome.
Nice.
Like, yeah, it's doing well. Personal life, I got my ADHD sorted finally. The most ADHD thing in the world, right? I got diagnosed like 3-4 years ago. It was like, man, you're 20 minutes away to a psychiatrist. I'm not going to follow up. So I just didn't until it got so bad. I was like, I need to do something. But instead of driving 20 minutes to the psychiatrist I had years ago, I like searched for weeks online to find an online psychiatrist. So I didn't have to leave my house. But I worked out really well because I was like re-diagnosing she was like, yes, I confirmed this, and then medicated within like 2 weeks. Yeah. And that's been life-changing.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's a big call, but life-changing. I go to places on time now. I'm not flaky anymore. Like, I didn't realize how much of my life was dominated by ADHD. Because people think it's just like trouble focusing.
And stuff totally.
Yeah, that would have been my misconception.
This whole spectrum, right? And I've been learning, like, I'm a pretty weird dude. And, like, I'm a pretty quirky guy, right? And I always thought I'm just a quirky guy.
He says with bright yellow glasses.
Right, yeah, and like a yellow watch band. I'm socially a little bit awkward a lot of times, especially when I'm not in the gym. Like, in the gym, I think people just accept it. But outside the gym, I'm really awkward. I don't feel comfortable. And, after learning about it, I'm like, oh, all right, like, this ADHD thing, like, it has a lot of impact on my whole life. So, like, yeah, like, social, it's a massive spectrum. And unfortunately, I'm pretty deep on it. I get a lot of sensory things.
Yeah.
So, like, if I ever every day, I try to take my vitamins and I just gag, right? Or if I'm not hungry and I think about eating, I gag. Or if someone says something a little bit gross, I gag. Or sometimes I just dry reach for no reason. And stuff like weird stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't wear certain items of clothing because I can feel like certain textures. I can feel it over my whole body. It's just a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I own a gym, but when there's too many people deadlifting, I have to leave the area because it's too loud. But it's been good learning about it.
How do you go at events?
I'm all right until my meds start to wear off. Like, I handle it, but
Pro Roll is like the loudest place in the world.
Yeah, and I've got noise. So I wear noise cancelling headphones all the time.
Yeah.
Right, when I'm not like coaching and everything and talking to people, and that helps a lot. But yeah, like, when I don't mind lifting, it's when I'm in the crowd it really gets to me.
Yeah.
And because when you're lifting, you want that arousal, right? You want that increase. Even though it makes me anxious, like, you kind of, it all feels the same. Does that make sense?
Because you're anxious anyway.
Yeah, right. You've got that nervous energy.
Yeah. And I guess you've got somewhere to direct it to.
Yeah, exactly, right. So yeah, it's been a really interesting journey, but it's been confronting but really good because, like, my earnings went up, the amount of people I coach went up, like and like significantly, and I'm just a better coach all around. Like I'm never late with reviews.
Yeah.
I never understood how people just got up and stuck to a plan.
Yeah.
They're like, I get up at 7, I do my cardio, and then I have breakfast and I work. And I'm like, I get up at 7, I'd lay in bed for 2 hours. We're going, get out of bed, you're a piece of shit, get out of bed. And I couldn't get out of bed. Like, and it's this, I never understood it. And then now I can do all that, right? It's so freeing. And before getting medicated, I always thought I was lazy, but I didn't realize when people are lazy, like, I can't be bothered doing that. I'm not going to do it. Whereas me being lazy, it's called executive dysfunction, right? When you want to do something and you just can't do it. So I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, I need to work. I want to work. Why am I not working? And on the outside, it looks like I'm just sitting there like on my phone.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you suck. You're the
having
worst.
an argument with yourself about doing it.
Yeah, beating yourself up. So the last, year since you see me has been really big.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome. We're in a good spot.
Were you at all concerned? I know like a lot of people kind of feel this way dealing with anything in this kind of like, I guess, mental health sort of side of things. Were you at all concerned it would change your personality, what you care about, anything like that?
Oh, what did it do?
Like, I guess, and that's like a lot of people will look at that, but I also know some people might be like, oh, but that's what makes me a good lifter. Or something like that. Like, obviously, lifting is very high priority in your life.
I see what you mean. No, because like I've been a good lifter for a long time. That's always been the one solid. I was never worried about losing any of that. I was worried about other things, like it took away my appetite completely.
Yeah.
Right. So I was not eating all day. Then 9 o'clock at night, my meds wear off, and I just order like 3 pizzas and trying to get my calories in. Right. Like not ideal, guys. Like not ideal. Don't do that. Like I didn't feel healthy. But no, like I was excited. Right. So there are still things that like the side effects and that I noticed that you learn to deal with, but it's a small price to pay for everything else. Like I was more excited because I just never felt like I always felt like an outlier. Like I was on the outside watching other people do stuff and I couldn't do it. The best way to explain is like, I always felt like I was walking through chest high water when everyone else is walking on land.
Yeah.
To do the same thing. Yeah. Right. And like, I'd go to Coles and I'd just be mentally wrecked. I'd be ruined. If I went to Coles to shop for 20 minutes, that's my day done.
Yeah.
I'd be so worn out and so fatigued and tired and burnt out from it. So no, I was excited. Like I wasn't ever worried about anything like that. It's changed my personal relationships in a positive way though.
Yeah.
So I am a different person, but it's all benefits. Like, there's nothing, people like to go, oh, but you can use your ADHD and stuff like that for like creativity or, you get hyper focus and stuff. I'm like, bro, that's shit. This is like, I'm not going to bet on one time a week having 2 hours of motivation.
Yeah.
This is way better being able to pace myself. So for me, but I think that comes from, I've already dealing with my anxiety, right? And I always saw the benefits of, even if there were like side effects and changes, the net positive was always way better. Yeah. And worth it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, very.
Because I think there's a lot, it seems to be, I don't want to use it like not as a derogatory term, but like there's a lot of people coming out that like I've gone and got my ADHD treated like at the moment. Like a lot of people our age around Instagram and stuff. I just wonder like when you see it so much all of a sudden, it's like, did people just figure it out or are people kind of leaning into it? Because it's like sometimes it's like, oh, I can tick some of those boxes, but hearing that, it's like, no, that was fucking ruining your day.
Bro, it was ruining my life. I didn't do my taxes for 8 years.
Yeah.
I had 8 years of no taxes done, and then I got on meds and I did them all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was... Yeah. And it's not because I was constantly anxious about my taxes.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, when I say, like... And it's hard to understand unless you can relate,
sure,
right? Which is good that you can't, but...
It's pretty hard to do
wanted
taxes, though.
Nothing... Sorry?
It's pretty hard to do your taxes.
I wanted nothing more than to do that, and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I can't explain it. Like, there is... Like, when I say... Like, it's got nothing to do with discipline. Like, it's got nothing to do with it. I just could not
just
do
getting
it.
in your own way.
Yeah, like, it's just it's a disability, right? And I just could not do it. I could not put... Like, I wasn't doing my own taxes, going to the H&R Block. Like, like, it wasn't, like, leaving my house even. Like, they do it online now. And I just couldn't do it. And it was like that with everything. Like, all the majority of things in my life. Unless it came to powerlifting, which I absolutely adore and love, and that's kind of everything I do. Outside of that, I was useless. People would always be like, "What do you do in your personal life?" I'm like, "Nothing." They're like, "Oh, like what do you do?" I'm like, "Literally nothing." I go home, I sit down, my missus will draw and stuff, and I'll sit there next to her and just like lay on my phone. Like that's my life outside the gym. With now, it's much more fulfilling.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
really cool.
what's changed? Like, have you picked up anything, or like a hobby, or like you just notice you're just a bit more mentally?
Oh man, so I actually
with
go
stuff?
out and see friends now.
Yeah.
So I never used to go out and see people ever. Like I go out and see friends now on the weekend. We'll catch up. I'll have people over. Hobbies, I've picked up like nothing. Like as in like I go on the weekend. Like I'll read now.
Yeah.
I can actually. It sounds silly, but I can actually. I used to be always so burnt out. I couldn't even play games.
Yeah.
Like PlayStation now. Like, I mean, I played for the first time yesterday in like 3 months. But like I'll play games sometimes.
Awesome.
And I'll read, or I'll take my missus out on a date and we'll go see a movie. So I'll just do things now. Yeah. And I never used to do things. So, like, as much as reading that's like a hobby, I think I've just started living a relatively normal life.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It
it sucks that I've missed out on it for so long, but it's
very refreshing.
It is, better now than at like 40, and better at 40 than 50, right?
Was it amplified over the lockdown period? Like, it sounds like getting out of the house was a really big obstacle. And I noticed even with myself, like when we got to Europe and like exposed to a full city, both of us, like the first day, were just like, "Oh my fucking God, I'm so exhausted." How was that, like being locked down for so long, then coming back out and being forced into that environment?
Yeah, like, oh man, it's tiring. Like, but I really was only forced into the gym environment.
Yeah.
Still didn't go out and
no,
it was hard. Like, right, going from no structure in my day.
Did it get worse?
Yes.
Though, like,
it got way
could
worse.
deal and then forced at home and then
I thought I always managed it well, and looking back, I didn't. But it definitely was better than. But then after 2 years of lockdowns, and having no accountability. Right, no real accountability. I could train at 11 at night. I could. Do you know what I mean? Nobody cared when I did my reviews and that. Like, it was way worse. And a lot of that is like, did I just lose what little structure and habits I had? Yes, but then I like didn't have the ability to implement that back in. Does that make sense? Like, I couldn't. I couldn't stick to a wake up time. I couldn't do this. That was now up at 7:30 every day and on with my day. I'd still sleep in for a lot of people, but I own a gym. I don't need to be up super early. But to answer your question before you were saying like, are more people getting diagnosed or are more people leaning into it? Like, it's probably a little bit of both, but it does go really undiagnosed in a lot of people. Because I don't know if you remember when we were kids, everyone had ADHD. Right, but then there was the pendulum always corrects itself, right, and it swung in the other direction. Then it was like, oh, this is made up.
Yeah, like, then it was just like, oh, you're just naughty.
Yeah, like, right. And then
or bored.
It's a rat bag.
So people like teachers and always telling my mum that I had ADHD and should get checked, and they never got me diagnosed. Right.
Yeah.
So then that's why I think a lot of people are getting diagnosed as adults, and we're also just more aware of these things.
Yeah.
And the impact they have. Right. Like.
Yeah. I'm willing to talk about it too. Like, I can't imagine a podcast 15 years ago with three meatheads in a room talking about mental health.
It's true. No, it's true. Because people are more comfortable talking about it. Yeah. So no, I think like people are getting diagnosed because it's recognized more, and they actually realize, oh, this is more than just focusing. Like this sucks. Like my life's way harder than it needs to be. Unfortunately, there's no cure for it. Like, and that is the worry. Like, I'm going to be on stims forever. Yeah. And what's that going to do to my longevity? My life expectancy is probably not going to increase it. But
quality of life.
Quality of life. Yeah. Also, like my story. I used to be like, used to have really bad addiction issues with drugs and alcohol. So that also wasn't going to increase my life expectancy. So it's kind of like
being able to function as a person probably extends life expectancy.
Yeah. Right. Rather than eating 3 pizzas a night.
Yeah. And also
24
like
beers for breakfast.
Being able to sustain interpersonal relationships and shit like that might not only improve the life but extend it. I think happiness is a big part of it.
No, I agree 100%. And that's why like I take them, right? Because
I've just seen it's kicking around as a reel at the moment. I think it's Bill Burr. He talks about like eating white bread. He thinks brown bread is like the biggest fucking insult ever. And it's like, well, like, cool, you live an extra 2 weeks, but it's not 2 weeks when you're like 24 and an animal. It's 2 weeks when you're fucking 80 and you can't do anything. It's like, I don't want another 2 weeks then. Give me the fucking white bread.
We always joke about that.
It's true, right? It's like it's a flex to live to like 90, but what's the last 10, 15 years like?
What does that look like?
Now, I'm not saying I want to die young,
Look,
but I just want a good quality of life.
I'm happy to live till I'm 90 as long as I'm living.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want to survive till I'm 90.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we probably should talk about some lifting.
Yes.
What's been going on
what I
there?
do.
So when we were training together at Apex, we were kind of leading into Pro Raw. Obviously, that got cancelled. Then you showed up at States and whooped all our asses. Cost me a bronze medal. You
Oh, was that APL?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was.
I was going to come
I
third.
just did like tokens.
And
The
Anthony's
day that
like,
he
I'm a
He
cunt.
wasn't allowed to push hard.
Yeah. Yeah, because it
Like,
was just
you
a
had to do
training session.
He just had to do like a first attempt.
Yeah.
And then just stop.
Yeah. And totaled what, 950?
No, I think I totaled like 900 or something. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
only 9, Jason.
it was nice
Yeah.
and nice and
Nice
cruisy.
cruisy day.
I really wanted my plastic medal.
Sorry, man. I don't even know if I got mine. Like,
Still waiting on it.
So then, yeah, I don't know what's happened since then. So that was this time last year.
so, lifting's been going really well. I just did Pro Raw, but
It sleeped, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do Pro Raw sleeves, but I got kindly asked they wanted me to do the big day.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
And I was like, well, I don't really have anyone to wrap me. I can't be bothered driving to get wrapped, so I'll just do it in sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my prep in sleeves. First time doing a prep in sleeves in years because I've been learning wraps. And I went, I should have gone over 1,000, but I went 975. In sleeves, 2 hour weigh in 125. And then, like I always do, pulled my third deadlift, 387. Didn't expect to pull 387. Locked it out for a brief second, then my grip gave out.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that would have been 997. Because I missed my squat opener. I didn't miss it on depth or anything. I got pinned.
Yeah, I do.
Right,
Yes, I remember the video. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So like we had to lower my third squat, and 375 in the end was pretty comfy. It should have gone for like 385, but it didn't start well. So no, I did that. That was good. The fact that I know I can. Like, I don't need to go over 1,000 to know I have over 1,000. Like, all the lifts were comfortable. Like, my 235 bench was comfortable. 387 dead, there's more there. It's just, again, the grip,
Hanging
which
onto it.
I'm training really hard now. And also, my lockout makes my grip open up. So I realized I was extending my chest through really aggressively and, like, pulling my shoulders down and back.
Yeah.
And you see in the videos, my grip is solid because I do hook grip. I have no grip issues until I lock it out. And because I'm leaning back a little bit through my upper body, it like pushes it out in front and then opens it up. And then as soon as that gets any move, you're not going to save it, right? It's going to roll out. So I'm training grip really hard, but I do think like it's purely just changing my lockout tech.
So you almost got to stay like compressed through the top.
Yeah. So like, keep the shoulders down and just push the hips through. And it also shortens my lockout by like 2 inches.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah, right. It's a lot. Yeah, usually I'm like trying to not hit my balls when I lock out, and like I'm like, it's because I'm locking out like shit.
Yeah. 2 inches is a lot with 400 kilos in your hand.
Right. Like it is. So now we're prepping for. Well, we're starting to prep slowly for Breakthrough, which is September 11.
Yep.
And I'll look. The goal's 1,050 plus in wraps.
Wicked.
It's wild that date is still so easy to remember.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Every time I say September, people are like, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually just went. Oof.
Yeah.
Like it when you said it.
Yeah. I didn't choose a comp date.
It burns into our brains. It's
Yeah. No,
wild.
it definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go.
Yeah.
So that's it, like 420 plus squat, 240 plus bench, and then whatever I need to deadlift 380, 390, 400.
At 125, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not
Is that 2 hour weigh in?
24.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Will you be
What's the body weight like?
right now,
Yeah.
124.
right? Because you were notoriously under,
Holding that
right?
well.
Yeah, cheers, man. Like a pretty lean 125
Yeah, holding
lifter.
that real well, man.
It's all the baggy clothes. No one can tell until I rip it off.
I was thinking on the way here, I don't want to like fanboy while Anthony's here, but like, for those of you at home that are looking at the size of this man in this chair, like I can't describe what it's like to touch someone with that much muscle. It's like you do the bro hug and you just like what the fuck is that? There's just stone in there. It's wild, man.
Nah,
It's wild.
Like I work hard. Like, But I think we'll push. Look, I don't like my chances of being like 130, but I want to push up to the top end of the 120s for the 24-hour weigh-in. just to give my bench some free gains.
True.
Honestly, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to... Mickey and Will want me to walk around at 130 after next year. I don't like walking around that heavy.
Yeah.
I just feel like shit.
Yeah.
But I do, for comps, I wouldn't mind pushing my weight up. And then Will always slides in, he wants to be as a 140, and that's never going to happen.
Jesus.
Never. It'll never happen. I've been 145 once, and I did not like it years ago.
Yeah, different body composition though.
Way different, but still, it's just
still
weight, right?
just as hard though.
Like even for comp at 125, 126, my heart rate's like crap. Like my resting heart rate goes up heaps. And although my like bloods and that are never really bad, my blood pressure stays normal. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel sluggish and unhealthy.
Yeah.
And then like after comp, I drop 3 kilos, and I'm just like, oh man, I feel even 3-4 kilos. It doesn't at that weight it doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to be like.
Yeah.
And I stopped snoring bad and that. Like you know,
I think everyone's got that limit.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like you tip over that.
Yeah.
And the quality of life actually
100%
dramatically drops off though.
Yeah.
Not even
and it can be within a couple kilos. That's the crazy though. It's crazy, right?
We've both just gone through that the last 12 months where it's just downsized a little bit.
On a way different scale.
Well, yeah. No, I'm as big as Anthony.
Mine's like after 96, 97, it's like everything after that is just I feel like absolute shit.
Yeah. What's your natural walk around weight?
Probably about 91, 92.
Yeah, and before lifting?
70?
68.
So you're way heavier than like you were like...
Yeah.
So when I started, I was like 100 kilos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like when I retire...
You're still only 25 kilos overweight. Yeah.
Yeah, like only, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
like
lot.
Well, yeah.
It's like
but
50 pounds.
Yeah.
Man. It's heaps.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was.
But I know what you mean, yeah.
Like Jace used to walk around.
Oh, he's 30 kilos
high
every
60s.
almost.
I
Yeah.
was low 60s.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So, yeah, like
Yeah.
I was.
Put it into perspective, yes.
Yeah. That States meet we did, I was 99.8.
How'd that feel?
Coming from 60 kilos,
How-
it was fucking death, bro.
How's
Like,
your sleep?
There's YouTube videos of me puffed
Yeah.
talking, bro. Because I
Yeah.
stood up
just
to
like
do that. I was just like,
The skin color, man.
The red, the healthy shade of purple.
And sometimes it's like a little bit white, and
Yeah.
it's got like the purple in it. It's
Yeah.
like, fuck, that's so bad.
See, I never get that.
I was
Yeah.
not. I was not.
Yeah.
I think too because my general activity was way down because
Yeah.
I put on all that weight in lockdown.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like,
And not enough sunlight. There's like multiple
Yeah,
factors.
not going
just,
out enough,
Being
not-
heavy.
moving around enough. Like it wasn't.
So you weren't
Could have
just...
been done much better.
Yeah,
but
you were 99, but you weren't like, you know, bulking over 2 years 99. Oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe you were, but like,
yeah, I probably
not intentionally.
Yeah, I think I went from 90 to 99 in a year, and all of it was inside.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, cool. I should do the
See-
bike, but I'll do it sometimes. Not
Well, see,
like,
lockdown was good for me because I actually did all my cardio. That's what got me
Yeah.
into cardio every
'cause you're
day.
bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I'm like, I have no excuse to like, I can fit this in whenever I want.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
now I still do my cardio almost every day, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
4 or 5 days a week. And it's only walking.
Yeah, what do you got? Like 10, 15 minutes?
I do
Like, is
20,
it-
30 minutes incline walking.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Keep my heart rate around anywhere from 115 to 125.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Like nice, slow, steady.
Yep.
And like to start my day with that. But that didn't
Yeah.
happen until lockdown.
yeah.
And I think, well, I remember, I think it was the first, I'd just gotten into untested lifting, as everyone knows. And I was like, I'm going to get huge. So I went from like 115 to 130 in lockdown, but like in a few months. And I there was this photo on my Instagram of me flexing. I was huge, but I looked like a water balloon. I wasn't like, I was eating pizzas and shit. And I was like, sitting there flexing, like breathing. I was like, all right, this isn't sustainable. And I came back down to 120 because I was like, this feels like crap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm terrible. Like, I'm walking up the stairs and like out of breath, and I've only got tiny stairs.
You could do your check-in photos. I don't know if you do photos for Bill, but you post for Instagram, same thing. Remember, like, trying to do a real double buy, and my mobility was so bad because I put on so much weight that I cramped. Just, like, trying to get into the position, I was like, oh, this is just so hard.
Like, see, photos are good though, right? Because like you
Yeah.
always go back and look at them. Like I'm always like, oh, I haven't changed at all in the past 2.5 years. And I look at my first ever check-in photos, like, oh, who's that guy? Why does he look like soft serve ice cream? So lifting's good, big goal. So 1,050
Yeah, it's sick.
will put me at, I think, just above Keita, I think, on points and dots. So it'll be number one lifter in Oz.
Yep.
On dots.
Awesome.
And it'll be, I think that's third or fourth all
So
time.
Dots
in
is like the
reps.
new version of Wilkes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that most of the feds are using.
Yeah. We might have to
Except-
update our lift off.
Yeah, except IPF and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they use IPF points, their own like formula.
Yeah.
So that'll be number 1 ranked in Oz. It'll be very high on the international rankings, and then just chip away at that until I retire at like 35.
Yeah, that's where you see it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to be pushing it for,
what are you gonna
for
do?
too long. I'm going to still lift.
Yeah.
I'm going to retire from competing and being 125. I'll cut to like 100. Like, it'll be hard because I'm always like, oh man, there's so much food, but I'm hungry on anything less than like 4,500 calories now. So it'll be hard, but it's more just for health. And I don't want to. It sucks to retire when you know you have longer in the sport, and that's ideally what's going to happen. But I don't want to be forced to retire from health or injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to blow out
Go in your own
all my
terms.
quad tendons. Yeah. Right. Like, the goal is like 1,100 plus. It's a big goal, but I would love like an 1,100 plus total at 125. Whether I hit that or not, though, because we're going to start trying to have kids next year and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, purely from a health aspect, I don't want to be pushing it for too long. And I don't mean that on like sups or anything. I mean just being so big and eating so much.
Yeah.
And being so heavy, and the food and lifting so heavy. Like, again, I don't want to be forced to retire. I don't want to affect my health. So around 35, there could be a year either way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be like 35. All right, I'm out. Like, prepping for a big comp. I'm like, no, 2 days too late, boys. Sorry. But but around that time, mid-30s is when I want to retire from being competitive in powerlifting and just lift. I'll still lift hard, but just for fun.
Yeah.
You
might get him over the dark side, mate.
want bodybuilding?
It's a lot of muscle maturity at 35.
I want to be less heavier and do it for health. I'm going to go to bodybuilding.
Yeah, right. And people always say that. I'm like,
Fucking
nah.
serious, bro. It's like probably even
Make it worse.
less healthy. Yeah. At least there's like
Let's introduce like subhuman body fat levels as well.
Yeah.
and affect your social life. Like,
Yeah.
No.
I've seen Tyler, my best mate, go through it now. He's doing his first bodybuilding and like physique and was it ICN or whatever.
Yeah, looks good.
He looks amazing, right?
Yeah.
And there's a few different feds. Like, I think his first one's ICN. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
But I've seen him with his eating like schedule, and I try to try my eating in that. But man, he's taking Tupperware everywhere, and we always joke
And,
like
and
this.
eating what you have for breakfast. over the
He's
whole
on like
day.
2,400 calories, and like so the other day. He was talking about his meals, and I was like, dude, I just had 1,000 calorie shake for breakfast. Like, like a smoothie.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's half my calories for the day.
Yeah.
But like, seeing him like when we go out. So the other night, we went and trained at Derrimut on Monday. It's a public holiday. And then we came back to mine so he could eat before we went to the movies. Because he's so strict with what and when. And, but obviously it's working for him. Look at him. He looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks really good.
He's down to like 78 something kilos.
Yeah.
And he looks insane.
That's sick.
But yeah, I'm like, I would not be able to live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because he came when we were eating together and I was pouring pasta sauce on my food. He's like, did you track that? I'm like, dude, it's like 200 calories. I'm not going to track that. It doesn't exist. Like,
It's like 10%.
Yeah.
10% of his calories for the day.
Yeah,
he's
right.
pouring on as a condiment.
Legit, yeah. Because he was like, I can't believe it. And I was like, yeah, I also don't track cheese when I put it on.
I dip my food
You also
in your
don't have to
meals.
care.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
say powerlifting's like bodybuilding without dieting.
Yeah.
Just that little component, right?
Yeah. Well, what is it? They say like with zero discipline around food or something like that, which isn't true.
No,
I like that better.
Yeah.
I like without the dieting.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
No, we
powerlifting.
need to be like strict, but also I'm not going to say no to going out for a parma or a pizza.
Yeah.
Like, because I'll just wear it. I'll be like, I'll click complaint. Like, and like, so me being strict, Mickey before comp is like no eating out for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because of, I'm close to weight. I'm like, for a 2 hour weight, I'm bang on 125.
Yeah.
And then, because the last time I missed a weigh in the week of comp, I just ate dumplings every day.
Cool.
And then the night before, lucky it was 24-hour weigh-in, because I wasn't worried. I was 125, and the night before I'm like, Mickey, I'm 128. Like, I fucked up. Really bad. So, like, we're there I made weight. I went and weighed in, like, because we cut water and food out. Like, but I told her on the day before.
Yeah.
So there was no prep.
Yeah.
So, like, what can we do here? So I went to PTC and weighed in. I was, like, a couple 100 grams over, so I had to sit there and wait until I was bang on 125.00. So now she's like, you need to be strict because you can't be trusted. Like, who eats dumplings every day for 6 days?
Not the best move for
So-
me coming in.
Shout out to all the personal trainers out there that are like, I just want to train like athletes. They're like, just do what they're told.
Oh,
It's like,
Yeah.
nah.
No, I got banned from RPE because I just can't abide by it.
Yeah.
Like, because the math in my head makes sense, but an RPE, the calculator will be like, an RPE 7 is, 340. And I'll be like, well, it's really close to 350. I don't know if you saw this in my garage, right? I was supposed to do like a 340, 345 sleeve single. I was in ISO. And I was like, well, 340, 345 so close to 350. That's pretty much 360. And 360 is essentially 363, right? Which is 800 pounds. And I was like, and you're not going to not take 800 pounds if you're next to it for the first time in sleeves. So I ended up doing this dodgy grinder death rep in my garage. And Will joked about taking my RPE away, and I just laughed off. And I always know it's serious when Mickey messages me. And she's like, no more RPE. I was like, oh, all right, Mickey, I'm sorry.
Off to the principal's office.
Yeah, legit. Anytime she says something, I'm like, all right, that goes. Like recently I was going to go way over in my squats, and she got a message, I'm watching you. And so I stayed on program. And they just took away my RPE from me.
Bad.
Yeah.
Because everything's
no RPE for you.
Everything's a 7 unless you miss. Then you just misgrooved like an 8. That's the way.
So,
straight weights.
What the fuck is going on in powerlifting in Australia right now?
Hey guys, hope you are enjoying this week's episode. If you are, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to head to the website where we have all our free resources, gifts, products, services, and merch for you guys to enjoy. All right, let's head back to the episode.
Oh, it's like in the last 2 years, it's just been impossible to keep up with. The shadow's going off today.
He's not happy with what's
Rolled
happening.
up about this powerlifting situation.
Right.
I agree.
So obviously, if we rewind 2 years,
Yes.
we had PA as tested. Then just before that, they had to split into APU, which was kind of got some legs, and then kind of felt like the legs got pulled from under that. GPC is obviously the primary untested. Now we've got APL coming into the mix. So what does it look like right now?
Scattered, at least in Victoria.
Yeah.
And other states, I'm learning more about other states because they all have a dominant fed, and it's not always the same. Yeah. So 2 years ago, PA, or two and a bit years ago, PA was the dominant fed. It was the biggest fed in Australia. Mm-hmm. APU started before that, but hadn't had a lot of traction in Victoria. So I'll speak from my experience, right? And the reason PA was so dominant in Victoria is because I had so many gyms and all the comps ran really well.
Yeah.
Without going into what happened with PA too much, I think everyone knows. Yeah. But some extremely slimy stuff happened, and it just crumbled the fed like last year.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone just a max exodus from PA, and people started going APU. And, as the next tested fed and the roads to IPF and that. And unfortunately, there's been some people in APU that just shouldn't be active on social media and interacting with people. And they are, and they're quite important to the fed. It's the way it comes off, right? You can see the intention's not bad, but just not great at getting that message across. Yeah. So, well, lo and behold, USAPL decided to open a fed here. And now, there's this massive division, right?
Yeah.
You got almost no one in PA.
Yeah.
You had people in APU that wanted to go to Worlds, and they still do, but now that there's USAPL, and they've come and going, we're going to do this, this, and this, a lot of people are switching over. In the untested side, GPC I still think has a lot, and there's APL now as well. Yeah. But I think people don't really care as much because you can compete wherever you want.
Yeah.
Whereas in APU, you have to compete APU.
They removed that. Yeah. You can just compete anywhere. I had a client message me this week. It was like, oh, what fed do you align with? I was like, look, the last comp we did was APL, but we can go anywhere now. Yeah. I said, I won't go to APU because that means I can't go anywhere else.
Yes, exactly.
So anything else you want to do, we're in.
So, and that's the thing, right? USAPL also has that draw where I can coach there, you can coach there. You don't need to just be APU. I can't coach in APU because I'm untested.
Well, I was, when you were prepping for Pro Raw, it was I had to call the president and be like, hey, I want to handle at Pro Raw. And they're like, no, you're not allowed. Yeah. Because there's a banned lifter there. So then I'll get banned for a year if I go and handle someone else with me. I was like, what the fuck?
So you have all these rules, and PA had all these rules, and people were kind of sick of it. So what's happened is USAPL have offered this tested alternative where there's none of those rules, and people are kind of for the first time, because they went from PA to APU where that was the norm, you can only compete in one fed, you can only coach in one fed, only Now, APU don't let you only run comps for one fed, but like it is more restrictive. People are just sick of it.
Yeah.
Right? So after all the drama over the last year or two, people are just sick of drama and they just want to lift with their friends. So people are now searching out these other feds that allow that. And USAPL came in at I think I've said before, I think USAPL will be the dominant fed in Victoria.
I think so too.
Right? And the majority of the old PA gyms that ran a lot of comps and ran good comps have gone to it. Right? And that's why, because it's got the support of a lot of big gyms.
I think with the success that Strength Culture are having right now alone,
yes,
for them to get behind it, Jamie's obviously involved. Like, everything that he seems to be involved with seems to be of a good standard. Yeah. And when it's not, he just gets the fuck out. So for me, that puts like a pretty good stamp on it. I think it's I don't want to say it's a shame, it's probably the wrong language, but when it first started rolling out, I was like, oh, we were so close. Because I felt like APL having the tested, untested days.
But was like, you don't count them out, though.
We can bring everything in. But now, like you said, you can go compete at either and it doesn't matter.
I've got lifters that are going to do both.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now,
yeah.
And so it's crazy, right? Because back in the day, or not even back in the day, until recently, the draw of APU, IPF, and before that, PA, a long time ago, the draw of that was enough incentive for my lifters to want to compete there without me coaching them on the day.
Yeah.
That draw's gone. All of my lifters have gone, oh, I'd rather get coached by you now on the day in a different fed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So what used to be this elite prestige, people are now just over it.
Yeah.
Seeing that there's other options, and they've gone, I'd just rather have you there coaching me and lift with my friends.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? That
makes
that elite, sense. Like going like that. Yeah, the draw isn't there. And now the other feds that allow a little bit more flexibility. It's sad though, because, and this, so, you know, a lot's happened with it. It's sad because more feds isn't necessarily good for the sport. You need good feds.
I agree.
But the sport is extremely fractured now.
Yeah.
And
I think less is better.
Less
feds
is
you
better.
can have, the better.
Yeah. You know, and you just need a couple good feds with, and I understand having a couple tested, untested. I don't, like, it's great APL bringing them all together, and I fully support that, but I also don't care if people want to just lift in a tested fed. Like, it doesn't bother me, right? Because they want to road to IPF Worlds and that. And you can't do tested, untested, and IPF. Yeah. So, like, that doesn't bother me. You need space for tested only and then untested only, right? Or APL, which has both. Like, but yeah, it's so fractured right now. Let's just look at not trying to, like, they're doing great. They did great at IPF Worlds, but look at the Aussie team this year. Like, usually we have some really heavy hitters there. And it wasn't the case this year. Yeah. Because there's just so much division, so much drama. Yeah. And it's taking away from, you know, the quality of lifting and the competition in this country, right? Because, you know, I have lifters, and it shouldn't be, I know lifters that shouldn't be the case. They're not bothering to go to nationals because they're like, there's no competition. Yeah. Right? Do you know how there's enough lifters in this country for every weight class to be competitive? Yeah. But you got the point now where people in APU aren't going to nationals because they're like, well, what's the point of going and getting a token first place at nationals and paying the money and traveling? So it's been really, and it's been very demotivating for a lot of people. Yeah. But I think it's changing now because people are just like, man, I'm over it. I just want to lift. I'll lift wherever. I don't care if I'm lifting against people that are tested or untested. Right, as long as they're not cheating and cheating tests. So I think it is, you know, swinging that direction where people don't care. But it's sad because, you know, I think for the foreseeable future, for the next while, nationals and those big national comps aren't going to have that draw unless they are invite only, like Pro Raw and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think what feds need to look at, and I hear a lot about APL because I follow Thomas pretty closely and obviously talking to Will and stuff involved early, about like the feds that are successful, the ones that understands that the gyms are everything.
Yes. They did a post about that the other day, right?
Did they?
Or someone did a post about that the other day.
Look at me go.
Good man.
But it is. It's like those feds that people were like, I'm going to go compete here, even if you can't coach me, is because of the culture that the lifters had. It's nothing that, like, sure, you can say it ties back to the fed, but like, I wanted to take my guys to PTC South Melbourne and compete because every meet that I'd ever been there was fucking awesome. Rocky and Andrew were great people. They were always welcoming. everyone was always friendly, and it was always ran really, really well.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to compete there. I didn't give a fuck what the Fed was. It was like, okay, it's tested. That'll be great for all my guys. And it's like sleeved, normal equipment. So our guys that train in good life clubs and stuff, they're all good. So it ticked all those boxes. Then we went to nationals. It was at Rucci's. I was like, fuck, this place is off its head. Like, I want to be involved in whatever this is involved with.
Yeah.
And then, the gyms started to move. Obviously, sadly, PTC closed. But it was like, these are the places that I want to be in. Nothing to do with what name is on my registration.
100%. And people do forget that in the end, the Fed's only as good as the people running the comps. Right? I think for too long, federations have relied on what governing body they're associated with.
Yeah.
Right? So,
because it was the pathway to IPA.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've just relied on that and just kind of rested on their laurels. And now it's not enough. And feds are suffering for it. And, as much as you don't want to see a fed sink, and there's a lot of good for a lot of... I can see the good in every fed here, except...
except the obvious.
Yeah, except the obvious. But unfortunately, you can't just rest on that. You need to be putting on really good comps consistently. You need to have that draw. So I think there's going to be a big shift, but I do think powerlifting in Australia is going to suffer for a while because of it, and as it has, and it's sad to see. Like I said, it's not as competitive, and it's, I just feel like a lot of also people that are running or that are involved in feds are just a little bit out of touch with what lifters actually care about. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? In the end, your main priority should be putting on good competitions frequently for lifters. Everything outside of that is kind of secondary. You know what I mean? Well-run comps, well-judged, well-refed. If you're a tested fed, get your testing done. Yeah. And outside of that, people don't really need or want much more.
It seemed to be this, push towards, professionalism, which it seemed so anti-powerlifting. It's powerlifting is so communal-based, so fun, so... there's rules, but it's it seems like feds were trying to push into... There was that rumor of they're trying to get into the Olympics kind of thing.
Oh, the IPF, they're always trying to get in the Olympics.
Yeah, but it's do we need that at a local level? Well,
because I don't think... I would love to see powerlifting in the Olympics, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. They're talking about kicking weightlifting
Well, the way it's going, it's definitely...
Right,
it's not in the direction that they want to go.
No, because they're talking about kicking weightlifting out and they want to kick... And they have, preemptively, whatever, said they're kicking weightlifting out. They have a chance to redeem themselves, though.
Yeah. Stop taking so much drugs.
Right, because of the amount of people failing tests. Yeah. Powerlifting isn't any better.
Yeah.
There's so many positive tests, when they do testing properly. And it's just the nature of the beast. And then it's going to go up if you get into the Olympics because people want to represent their country. The amount of positive tests. So, you need a low positive to get in there because they expect it is going to go up. Look what people do for a $5-10 plastic trophy. Yeah. What are they going to do for a gold medal? Yeah. Right, at the Olympics. So, I don't think it's realistic anytime soon. And you're right, that does bleed through into the local level. Being super strict on equipment, but not on. There needs to be the specs, but the branding. Yeah. Bro, this is their first comp. Yeah. Who cares what belt they're using as long as it's not over 13 millimeters?
So that was my first introduction to powerlifting. So thankfully I stayed. But I signed up to a fed that was PA. Yeah. And basically what happened was...
I'm going to leave.
Didn't last long.
Signed up for my membership and then found the second pages of regs. And it was these are all the brands that you can wear. And I was I've just outlaid, I don't know, $500-600 on belt, shoes, whatever. And I was fuck, I can't wear anything. And at the time, it's I can't afford to replace this shit. Yeah. So I rang up and look, I can't compete if this is the equipment I've got to wear. This is not going to be any good. Can you just... It was a day later. I was can you just refund me and we'll move on. And the guy, the response from the same guy that caused all the drama, the straight away response was just oh, so you want to take drugs? And I was what? It's like,
Well,
oh,
yes,
obviously you've
but
read the
no.
regs and you want to take drugs. So I'm like, no, I can't afford to buy all new shit just because you don't like
Yeah.
Harris
These
equipment.
brands, yeah.
So I think APU let you at the local level just put sticky
Covering
tape over it. Yeah. But then there's other
Oh,
like,
this was like belts and sleeves.
yeah, no,
and
it
shit.
was,
Like,
but it was like that for a long
Oh,
time.
right.
Until
So you can
until
cover
more
that
recent.
then.
Now,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
no.
sure at the local level, and from state level above, it needs to be the right brand.
Yeah,
right?
which is fair.
Which is fine. So I
Yeah.
think they've added that in, which is good. Right?
Yeah.
Reduce that barrier for
I
entry.
I
but-
still don't love it in terms of like the little in click that it creates. Like,
Yeah, no, I know, and like, even just things like, I don't know, there's this you can't like. I don't get slapped. I don't slap my lifters and that, but you can't use nose talk or anything except behind the barrier. But, you're going up, you're getting ready, someone else is lifting, someone uses it. Like, then you got someone coming up and telling them to move out of the way. You're like, dude, you're just wrecking that lifter's thing now. And I don't use any of that, but I can see why people do. And, like, you just don't want to wreck someone's flow when it's really not that big of a deal at all. It's not like they're there, like...
What I find so wild about that, it's like, so most of the powerlifting events I'd been to were at HQ, PTC HQ. So it was like massive, untested lifters, like stand beside the platform, do their slaps or their salts or whatever, walk out on the platform, lift, off they go. I went to nationals for APU it was, and they had the no sniffing salts out in front. And these kids, man, because I had 2 in the juniors, kids were coming out like 3/4 squat, like Gollum walking along, like fucking screaming, punching themselves in the head. They had chalk marks all over their face. I'm like,
That's all good.
these natty boys are crazy. What is happening? And that's fine, but make sure you sniff your salts out the back.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas GPC's like, do my sniff, walk up, lift. Like, wild.
You got to go hard when you got to find that fifth gear
No smelling
without the
salts.
help.
Beat the shit out of yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, 2016 IPF Worlds. So back when I was tested, I've only been in untested lifting for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I did 862 as a super in sleeves tested, and 852 at 120 tested in sleeves, right? And but I went to IPF Worlds, and so I walked out for this squat. I tore my quad that Worlds, by the way, on this squat. So I walked out, I looked disgusting. Like, my hair was, I was a concrete, and my hair was a mess, my beard was a mess. But I walked out and headbutted the bar, but my glasses like fell off. So I was like, and put them back on. And then I like looked up and lost all my height. I'm like, I look like an idiot, right? Like walked out, headbutted the bar like an idiot. And then I got under the bar, I've walked out like just completely shaken from, I knew I've got anxiety, man. I knew, I was like, what a tosser. Like, and then I tore my quad, right? So followed it up with an epic quad tear.
Yeah.
And like a bar went over my head and stuff. I think that was the last time I got super hyped for a lift like that. Just don't do it anymore.
This doesn't work.
Yeah, because I got under the bar, you can see I was shaking, and then I just went and dropped as fast as I could, and it just went pop, pop, pop. Tear, tear, tear. So, much more composed nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's what we teach our lifters, right? Because
Yeah.
you're not going to lift good if you're punching yourself in the head before you lift.
You've only got
you got a concussion.
You've got a small window if that's effective as well.
Yeah, legit.
It's like
Yeah.
the variables are just too loose.
At Nationals too, like where I was at least, it was like a good 20-meter walk from the curtain to the platform.
Yeah, it's like
So it's like, it's gone, bro. It's
Yeah,
already gone.
yeah.
Like, you're on the way back down at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tough days for powerlifting in the country. I think more so on the tested side than anything. The untested side still kicking because, again, people just compete anywhere.
Yeah.
I do think USAPL is going to be the biggest, at least here, and it'll bleed over into other states as time goes on.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it's the gym owners that make a fed, and that's why.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of support. And we run APU, APL, and novices, and we're just waiting and see how USAPL goes. We're not for or against. Like, we just wait and see, and then we'll always do what's good for the lifters and our members and what people want.
I like that.
So that's honestly always been our main priority, is like, what's better for the lifters? Who's putting on the best for the lifters? And we've also always been, we'll never be tied to one fed ever again, because we had that with PA, and it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
So we won't just ever only run fed. We'll run 2, 3, like probably not 4, because you just can't run enough comps in the year.
Yeah.
But like, we will always run multiple feds, and we do that for a reason. So that no one could ever turn around. Because if anyone ever turned around and said, you can only run our comps now, we'd pull the pin.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's not in the interest of the athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the sport in general. Right? We should be making the sport more accessible, not less.
Yeah.
And, we want to watch the sport grow. How do you do that? Run good comps and let people lift where they want to lift and make their own decisions.
So you mentioned obviously transitioning from tested meets to untested meets. We had a question come through. It was more on the side of bodybuilding, but I think obviously it applies to powerlifting as well. Around should people be more open about PED usage than what they currently are? Or is it none of the public's business and people should be able to just do what they want to do?
Right. So I always say I'm open. I'm not going to tell people what I'm taking. I'll talk about it in person with people when they at comps they'll ask, and people don't believe me.
Yeah,
right. Because it's not a lot. Yeah, they're like, nah, I just saw you squat 400.
You can't be that much stronger than me.
Yeah, they're like, you're a liar. It's like, dude, I totaled 862 natty. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But no, so I'm of the thought like when people always go, what do you take? Why won't you tell me? And that happens a lot. And they get upset. I'm like, dude, I don't owe you anything.
Yeah,
I don't owe you an explanation. I'm not tested. I'm enhanced lifter. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Right? And I think people should be open to that extent. If, I just think it stops it. Don't give false hope. Don't be a fake natty.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be telling people you're natural and you're not. And that's where I think that stops.
Yeah.
That's all. Not that you owe that to anyone, but it's just, not setting realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that's all it needs to go to.
Yeah.
I will never get online, talk about, and I'll help people when they need help, as in not with their PED use, but I'll tell them, go talk to this person.
Yeah.
Because people need to do it the right way, and a lot of people don't. But I think when people start talking about how much they're running and what they're running, people go, well, they're running that. It's okay for me.
Yeah.
So I've had young kids, teenagers, come to me and ask my opinion on something. I'm like, dude, you're 16. And but all my friends are on them. And they're doing better than me now. And I've been training for years. I'm like, that doesn't matter, man. I'm like, you can't. And they get upset because I'm like, you can't be, you've been lifting for 2 years. You're 16. Don't do this.
Yeah.
And they get upset because everyone else is doing it, right? Yeah. And I feel like it's almost, not everyone, but there is a core group of people online, like YouTubers, and that do these absurd amounts of drugs and that, and they talk about it, and they make it seem like this fun, cool thing, and they put their bloods up, look, my bloods are good. And you're like, man, that doesn't mean you're not messing with your heart. That doesn't mean anything. It means something, but it doesn't mean long-term you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And they normalize it. And again, that whole thing, you're doing that, so I can do that. Or, or on the flip end, if I went up and posted what I do, people would be like, well, Anthony's a liar. So, and that's the thing, the new fake natty is, I don't run much. That's the way it's gone. People are like, oh, I don't do much. I just do a bit of TRT.
At 500
at
a week.
400.
Yeah, legit, right? So I think there needs to be that openness in a way that don't set unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
But don't normalize to the point where people are just going to go and do it. So people need to talk about it. You can talk about the positives and the negatives, because there is both, and the risks.
Yeah.
But the moment you start posting up, I'm doing this, it makes it okay for other people to do it.
Yeah, well, that was the discussion that we had, was sort of like, on the one hand, you've got these unrealistic expectations of people saying that they're natural that aren't, that are getting phenomenal, in this case it was physiques, but same, strength outcomes, who aren't open about it. I think to be honest, it's the same in both feds, but I think in both sports, like bodybuilding and powerlifting, we have tested and untested, and it's like, if you're in the untested, there seems to be more. If you're untested in powerlifting, it's just like, that's where I compete.
Yeah.
I don't need to say any more than that. Whereas in bodybuilding, it's like, oh no, I compete in IFBB untested, but I'm natty.
Yeah.
Which it seems to be happen more in bodybuilding, probably, I think, because there's more money.
Yeah, personal brand's huge.
And also, people make, like you said, personal brands on social media, right?
Yeah.
That's
what I mean by money. It's just sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. It's not.
But and that's the thing. So that's the other thing. I can also get why some people aren't open to say I'm on drugs. 100%. lose their sponsorship. So that's a livelihood.
That's the argument we said as well.
So I actually had this conversation with someone in the gym like a week ago. I'm like, people should say they're not natty if they're not. And I'm like, I can see your point. I went, but that can affect people's brand. So if someone looks like they're on, lifts like they're on, and they just go, I don't want to talk about it, there's your answer.
Yeah.
Why do you need to hear I'm on? Like you don't.
It comes from, and it's not to be disrespectful to those people that think like that, but it comes from a place of like, I don't know if it's a moral superiority or even just like, oh, well, I could.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if I ran what Anthony runs, I could hit 1,000. No, you fucking couldn't. Like, I'm sorry, you can't. Like you said, you totaled 850 natty. Like, it's not like this first scene of Captain America. It's not what happens.
Like, I entered powerlifting as like a 69 kilo weakling and lifted, and then 6 months later I was a 125
You can throw the Hulk around.
Yeah. No, so yeah, that's the thing, right? So like, again, it comes down to these people don't owe you anything. Like, don't lie and that. But man, as soon as someone goes, I don't want to talk about it, like, one, respect that, but two, there's your answer. That's a very
politically correct.
Politically correct, professional answer.
Yeah.
And I just don't, or if they just never mention it, well, just make your own assessment. Like, you can tell. Like, people know enough that you can tell, right? And if you can't tell, it's because someone's probably early on in their career doing it. Do you know what I mean, though? I think you're right. It's that moral superiority. And like, why do you need to hear those words? Right? Why do you need to hear, like, so that's my opinion. Like, I just think people shouldn't lie. Have you, like, like Liver King? Have you seen him? Yeah, he went on a podcast and said he was outright natty. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm like, bro, the guy's got an awesome physique. I don't. Some people send me his videos and I'll have a laugh. Like, it's pretty funny. I'm like,
I don't think I've even watched one.
Bro,
I've seen more stuff about him.
So
than I've
you got to
seen
watch
of
his
him.
reels, like, because you got to watch him though. I'm not like, I'm gonna be. I'm not going to follow my 9 ancestral tenets, but it's a good laugh. Like, because my brother, I didn't know about it until my brother started, my older brother. He's like, dude, have you seen this Liver King guy? And started saying to me, like, this is the funniest shit. Like, and like, the guy's obviously, look how much he's blown up. He's a good businessman.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, he's gone on there, and people believe it, man.
Stealing in snake oil.
Yeah, and people believe he's natty as well, though. That's the thing. So, like, I'm sorry, man, you're not going to eat bone marrow and liver and be as jacked as that guy. Like, that guy's got an insane rig on him.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's disheartening to people because 6 months in, a year in, they're like, why don't I look better?
I was just listening to RX Radio had Broderick Chavez on last week, maybe. Him and Jordan were kind of going back and forth, and it's like during his intro, he's like, and I'll make a point eventually. He's like, I've worked with UFC fighters, tennis players, darts players, golfers. What else was there? Bodybuilders, world's strongest man, and then like a few other like Olympic sport kind of thing.
A trend up dart player.
Yeah,
that's what I'm here for.
What did he say? The number one archery. Archery is the number one failed tested sport in the Olympics.
Really?
And I think that's part of it. Is people think that this Liver King guy is natural, and they think that NBA he mentioned as well, NFL he mentioned, and they think like, like LeBron's just the best. He's the best, but he's also, what is he, pushing 40?
But people look at doping through a narrow lens.
Yeah,
they look at it. They look at PED use as bodybuilders, powerlifters, and
you have to be hyper muscular.
Yes. And like, bro, PED doping, like beta blockers in shooting. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Your heart rate slower.
Well, that was the archery thing, was beta
right,
blockers.
Yeah, right.
But they apparently also run tests, because if you're stronger, it takes less effort to pull the bow,
I believe
so
it, and then
be more focused.
They'll recover better in that as well.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever, so I've done archery for a long time. Have you ever done it?
We haven't.
No. Right, it is. All right, the indoor shooting range is actually just down the road. The indoor archery place that I go to.
I feel a YouTube video coming on.
Right, you will go down
close by.
It's just off the freeway.
So I
Where
drove past there today because I rinsed my car off, and I went, does anyone even go here?
Yes,
we're going to.
But I'll give you my bow. I'll knock it down because I use a compound bow, right? So it's really hard at the start and then easy to hold back. But like you guys, you strong boys, you'll be able to lift it up, like pull it back.
Thanks, Anthony.
But you do it a few times, and you're like, oh man, I'm in pain, like because it's a 70-pound draw on it.
Yeah.
So you're pulling 70 pounds back at the start, but repeatedly, in this motion, like, those guys are strong. Like, those people are strong.
So I think it just speaks to the naivety that we have around PED use in general.
Like, and that's the thing. I lift better on my Ritalin.
Of course.
I'm more focused. It's also it's like medical meth. Like, it's very low dose, but it's a nervous system stimulant. Right? I remember... So, like, I don't use it as pre-workout, but I use long-acting Ritalin. And one day I didn't take it, and I missed 230. Like, the next week came in, and I crushed 230. Yeah. And I took my Ritalin, and I was like, and I wasn't on anything else, and I was like, this is nuts. Yeah. Like, because I felt, in the warm-ups, like, I just felt stronger, more explosive, and I didn't deload or anything. Like, and I can tell when I do, and when I just feel more snappy. Yeah. It's like taking, like, a bunch of caffeine, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so, again, you can... So if I was going to lift tested, I'd need to get a therapeutic use exemption for that. Yeah. Because it is a performance enhancer. Yeah, and people don't see it like that. Yeah.
Is it Phelps? I think he's got an exemption for either Adderall or Ritalin. One of them.
Yeah. Yeah, because like they are performance enhancing. Like again, like marijuana. Yeah. Like people are like, why does it get tested for? Like, well, in some sports, very low arousal sports, it's going to be performance enhancing. Same as alcohol. Yeah. Steady your nervous system. Like, it's a depressant. Yeah. Like, again, shooting. Like, it would be good with alcohol. Like, a little bit.
We've been talking shit about this idea of going to do YouTube videos, but we keep, like, putting it off because we're busy. So, let's make this archery thing happen. I'm fucking in. Yeah, I'm in. We'll film it. We'll put it up. It'll be fun.
Let's go. Okay. So what I'll do is
we asked him what he does for like hobbies and stuff. Like,
he just
didn't want to tell us until we were like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do that.
It's only taken an hour and a half for him to actually start talking.
Is this like, like my missus always says it. She'll be like, what happened to her? I'll be like, nothing at all. And then we'll get like a week later and be like, last week when you asked what happened, like I spent 40 grand for the gym.
It's the most male answer ever. How was your day? Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was good. No, like, somebody died. Like, I just forgot.
So let everyone know, where is Apex? How do we find it? How do we find the details? And how do we find details about you?
So Apex is in Coburg North. You could just look up Apex Strength on Insta and come down, train. We're there Monday to Friday, 12 to 8. So you can come down and do a casual. We give everyone a free week trial as well. You can come try the gym out for a week. Members have access 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. 7 days a week, 365. You get a fob. And me, I'm the Australian Yeti.
We got fobs now.
We got fobs now, And cameras.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's all coming together. Yeah, right? It's no more the dodgy little key.
No more sneak down the alley with the key.
That's it. We got lights outside too now. Nice. Yeah, so you don't trip over the cement anymore. And my personal Insta is the Australian Yeti.
It's the best Instagram.
Man, just quickly.
Do the story.
Yeah, all right.
How did that evolve?
All right. Again, IPF Worlds 2016. Come out, tear my quad, just get pummeled on the squat, right? I get carried off. I can't walk. I get carried off, and I'm there, and they cut the stream out. I didn't know. But I'm there, I'm like, oh no, like trying to look tough as they carry me off, and then I get back and just start bawling my eyes out. My career's ruined. But then someone comes up and shows me the live stream, and the comment at the top is, oh no, the Australian Yeti's gone down. And I just started hissing myself laughing. Didn't use it as a name for years, and then I wanted to change my Insta name, because it was Krznar Does Yoga for a while.
Yeah, it was someone else before that, wasn't it?
It was just Anthony Krznar, I think.
Okay.
And there was Anthony Does Yoga, then it was Krznar Does Yoga. So dumb. It's just because I'm immobile, and nobody knows that online. Though. I remember I had this chick follow me, and she like shared one of my posts. Like, it's so good to see like a big powerlifter doing yoga. I was like, oh no, the name's ironic. Like, right? And then she unfollowed me. But yeah, so then that's how the name came about. Like, this top comment on YouTube, like the Australian Yeti's gone down, and when I was going to change, I'm like, that's it. That's a good name. It is what I'm about.
Were you as bearded at the time?
I was heavily bearded. It was very unkempt though, so I looked like I'd walk straight out of like a wildlife park.
And the fuzzy hair too.
The helmet and unkempt and really dirty. Like, I look like I just come straight from work.
You've come a long way, mate.
Yeah, thank
nice
you.
Shaped beard, nice neat hair.
A lot of life gains in the last 6 years. It was a bad time. But
how much of that do you attribute to powerlifting?
My lifestyle change. A lot through powerlifting, but not because of the lifting. Like, I'd PB my squat after drinking 20 beers the night before. So I'd go in and I'd train, like, because I drink every night. I was an alcoholic. It was the people I met through powerlifting that had the big impact on my life, because I just got away with whatever I wanted in powerlifting, which isn't a flex. It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't treat myself like an athlete because I do now, and I have for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But before that, I just get smashed, go in and train, and then I got exposed to these people like yourself, like Will, like Tyler, just a bunch of positive influences.
Yeah.
That slowly, very slowly, I didn't take to change easy, but very slowly just improved my life. So, like, it'd be like, cut out the drinking, and then started focusing a bit more on nutrition, and then over years, this is very slow to change, especially with ADHD, but then having actual set schedules and stuff. So the people in powerlifting, and my missus, who is a massive, like, she is, again, so for all intents and purposes, like, she does a lot for me. Like, I have a disability, and when I'm not medicated, like, it's very hard. So she does a lot. So she's had a massive impact on my life too, right? But yeah, there's all these positive influences that slowly just didn't give up on me.
Yeah.
And, could see the potential. I just saw that I had a lot of shit that I needed to work through in my own time. And they didn't give up because I see I wanted to do better. It was just hard for me. So yeah, the people in powerlifting, like, huge influence, huge impact. And I'm very thankful for it.
If you are in Melbourne and you haven't been to Apex, I think what you've kind of described there, the vibe in that place is always like that. You can tell that yourself, and even Tyler's the same, like, wants to get around the people that are in there, because it's like, it's not just the barbell in that place. It feels like there's a little bit more to it.
Oh, cheers, I appreciate it, man.
Is really cool. So if you are in the area, definitely go check it out, and follow the Big Yeti for all things.
All yellow glasses.
STCfit.com for us. Probably subscribe to our YouTube, because there's an archery video coming.
Yes, it's going to be... I'm going to turn the poundage way up.
We won't even be able to draw
I'll be like, what are you talking about, bro? That's 70 pounds.
70 pounds.
You hear the bow cracking.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers for having me on, boys.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning into the episode. Don't forget to like it if you liked it, and subscribe if you loved it, and share it with somebody who you think needs to hear it. Don't forget also to head to the website for all our free resources, products, services, and merch. All right, see you next time.